Okay, so weather stories. So these are actually one of the most read stories on online and in print, one of the most watched stories you see on broadcast news, and it's because everybody's fascinated by the weather. I don't know why, but they are. Um, so the reason we have almost 10 to 15 minutes of weather um, on Channel 7, Channel 9, or Channel 14, especially on slow news days, is because people are just fascinated by the weather. They want to make sure that it's going to be sunny tomorrow. They want to see what they will be able to wear tomorrow. Or should they wear a jacket? Should they wear a sweater? Is there going to be rain? Is there going to be snow? Okay. Um, Local news, more time is allocated to weather than any actual news, and it's again because people's fascination with the weather. Weather stories are very simple to do. So actually, this is going to be one of your first stories to complete on your own. When the weather becomes unusual, this is when people start to pay attention a lot. Okay, through the media, through Facebook, through Snapchat, through Twitter, people will pay attention to the weather. Okay, when you're at home nice and cozy during a snowstorm, just a little fact here that I want to tell you guys about. When you guys are at home nice and cozy during a snowstorm or maybe a tropical thunderstorm or a hailstorm, reporters from news channels are braving the elements. So if you want to be a news reporter, one of the first things you have to do to earn your keep is to go out and do a weather story in some inclement weather. Okay, they don't get a day off. In fact, sometimes they work overtime. Okay, when the ice storm of El Paso hit, when the freeze hit in 2011. Um, Everyone from the El Paso Times was called in. We were told to get there safely and to drive carefully, but we had to get into work, and we got into work, all of us, and we were all told, to do different kinds of stories about the weather. So we had, I think, like weather coverage on the front page for a week straight, something like that. Um, and I was out there, and so were my fellow reporters. We were all out there braving the elements. Uh, my car was out there braving the elements. So yeah, um, lots of us, we got sick, but we were still out there doing stories, even with sniffles, and we brought orange juice to the office, and we brought, things to clear our throats so that when we did interviews over the phone, we wouldn't cough as much. So, well, you really, as a reporter, you really test your body, and you test your engine on your car, and you test your tires, and you test your health a little bit sometimes. But once it's done, the whole reason you're doing it is so that you can inform people, how to be safe while not being safe yourself. But you get what, you get what I'm saying. So don't think that they're just out there. They get in the news van, they stay out there, they brave the elements, and hopefully they come home safe. Okay. Here's some weather service information that you all need to know. So if you need to pause the video to take a quick snapshot of this, you can, or take a picture of this. The National Weather Service here in El Paso is located on Airport Road in Santa Teresa, New Mexico. Their number is 575-589-4088. Now, the reason you would need this information is because as a news reporter, you would be calling this number to get an update on tomorrow's forecast if you were to do a weather story. Okay, what does the forecast look like? And then you would ask for a meteorologist. Okay, so some notes on words. Okay, I don't know where that comes from, so I think that's another. Sorry, please ignore that. But weather story example. This is a true story. Okay. Oh, sorry, 2010. Okay. As results of why weather stories are such the most highly read is because weather stories can provide some really important information. When the freeze hit, pipes were bursting, businesses were shutting down, and we were out getting the news. The freeze caused EMC to contact a local business, okay, because it's a hospital, right? So you need water to run, but sometimes the pipes weren't running, and you need water to run a hospital. So the freeze called UMC to contact a local business to provide them porta potties because they were out of water. So the El Paso Times reporters wrote up the story about the weather and the unusual chaos it caused that night. When writing a weather story, you need to speak to a meteorologist at the local affiliate, which is the number they gave you a couple slides ago. of the National Weather Service, and you have to ask what their name is. Okay, most meteorologists are very friendly, and will give you the skinny on what the weather's like. They're really friendly people. It's very impressive on how friendly they are, and not just in El Paso, but also in other states as well. It's very interesting. So don't be afraid to ask them to explain the weather jargon for you. Sometimes they say, you know, this, it comes in at a low temperature. It comes in, on gust or 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. Ask what a wind gust is. So don't be afraid to ask them questions, especially when you don't know what a low pressure system is or what a high pressure system is. Okay. Always ask if there's an advisory if you're talking to a meteorologist. Like an advisory is like a flash flood warning or a hailstorm warning or a heat warning. Always ask where the rain is coming from, where the wind is coming from, northeast, west, from the mountains, the Gila Valley. Okay, how many miles per hour is it blowing? How strong is it? How strong are the gusts? And should people with pets take precaution? Should they bring their pets inside and keep them warm? And what about the low-lying areas? Should they go get more sandbags? That sort of thing. Now, refer to your AP book on weather. 34 miles per hour is 34 ph. Spelling of names and storms correct. Okay, you don't want to spell Katrina the wrong way. There is weather jargon, so ask the meteorologist how you would simplify it. And the best way to write a weather story, is simply to write it. Find a story within the weather story. With the freeze, there was lots of small stories within that story. You could go in and you could talk about how people's pipes were bursting. Then you go talk to the water company, ask what's going on, why are the pipes bursting, why weren't we prepared for this? You could go and talk to the electric company, ask what's going on, why are there blackouts, why weren't we prepared for this? You can go in a little further. You could talk to businesses that had to shut down because of it. How much money did they lose within that week? How is it going to affect the economy of El Paso? What about those living in Section 8 housing? How is that going to affect them? Is the government going to come in and help them out a little bit? What's going on? So this is referring to a weather story isn't just a weather story. If it's a sunny day out in El Paso, which is a lot, it happens a lot. Sunny day, it's hot outside. There are stories within that story. How many people got heat stroke when we were having 100-degree plus temperatures? How many elderly need fans? How many fans are being donated? Are the kids outside? Are they getting heat stroke? Are they susceptible to heat stroke? What should you do? What shouldn't you do if the weather is 100 plus degrees outside? Tips on how to keep your car cool, etc., etc. So you see all these stories I just came up with. Those are tiny stories within a story. Okay. All right. So in some cases, the National Guard or FEMA needs to get involved in the weather. All right. So Katrina was a good place when FEMA got involved. Okay. These are government agencies that provide help and relief and shelter for a brief time for residents. This happened in the storm 2006 of El Paso. This happened with the flooding of Socorro. FEMA came in and local high schools actually opened up their gymnasium to help people have a place to sleep and rest while their homes were, their homes were being weathered by the weather. Okay. There are federal funds. Where there are federal funds, there are stories about families and their losses, so you just follow the money trail. And chances are you'll find a family that was promised FEMA relief and did not receive any. Okay, so weather stories, just to reiterate the fact, is that they are more about people than they are about the weather. They are about the people and the weather effects. Okay, this is the city of Socorro. Okay, it was flooded after the heavy rains. All right. What's really upsetting, and this is just a personal note, is this happened in Socorro. We covered it when it happened for a day or two, and then we just forgot about it. And that really shouldn't have been what happened. What should have happened is we should have gone out there and covered it for an entire week, maybe even a month, because no one was there to help clean up. FEMA took their time, and people were just kind of left on the wayside, and that's just wrong. So it should have been more about the people. But state of the media today is very few reporters and more on their plate. So I don't know who you can really blame. But as you can see there, this was a house at one point. I beg your pardon if there's dogs that are barking, if you guys hear that. They're my roommate's dogs. My apologies. But anyway, so I always think more about the people and the effects. Okay, now where do you get the information for the Weather Service? It's a good question. Let me show you. Come on. National Weather Service, El Paso. And if you're in Austin, you'll put National Weather Service Austin or wherever. Okay. No. Fine. Let's put National Weather Service. Go to weather.gov. Log off of Facebook here, maybe it'll. Tells you where you're from. Okay, so I'm going to put El Paso, Texas. Okay, so this is the National Weather Service. Okay, it'll tell you, if you go on there right now, okay, it will tell you the humidity, which is at 17%. We have a little bit of wind coming from the west, 12 miles per hour. Tells you the barometer, the dew point. Visibility, you can see 10 miles ahead of you if you're in your car. Okay, visibility is very important, especially when it gets windy, really windy and dusty in El Paso. The visibility decreases as the wind and the dust picks up. Okay, heat index, last update was at 3:51 p.m. on Sunday, which was not too long ago, about an hour ago. It tells you a little bit more information about the weather forecast today, tomorrow, what's happening, so you can use this information to plan out your week, and if you wanted to report on something, you could plan out your day as far as what you want to do your story on. But it says there's a hazard. See, it tells you a little bit of information here. This is just kind of what's happening around the nation up here. A slow-moving, low-pressure system, see, near the southeast coast will continue to bring periods of rain and few thunderstorms across the southeast, meaning the southeastern part of the United States and mid-Atlantic states through Sunday night. The clouds will keep temperatures in these mild areas. In the western U.S., mostly dry conditions are expected with hot temperatures in the desert southwest. You can read more if you want, and it'll tell you some more. It says hazardous weather conditions. So apparently there's a hazardous weather outlook. This little thing where it talks about the red has a little red highlight. That is where you want to click in case, something happens. So let's check out the hazardous weather outlook for El Paso. This is for Sunday. Now this script right here is what the meteorologists read off to you when you talk to them. You can ask them to elaborate a little bit more too. So it's telling you where it's coming from, the area, which is southwest area, which is El Paso. Okay, Doña Ana County, blah blah blah, yada yada. All right, so it gives you a little bit of description. Day 1, this afternoon and tonight. There will be slight chances for thunderstorms over the Sacramento Mountains through early this evening. Otherwise, no hazardous weather is expected. High pressures aloft will bring seasonably warm, dry weather, which is why it was crazy hot, with mostly light winds. Days 2 through 7, Monday through Saturday, no hazardous weather expected. High pressure aloft will bring seasonably warm, dry weather with mostly light winds. Spotter information statement. Spotter's activation will not be required throughout Friday. So basically, we might have a chance of thunderstorms. No biggie. So that's how you check the weather. And then you can go and you can interview people. How are they planning their day? What are they doing? Etc., etc. Okay. So take a read through your chapter 6. All right. Talks about literary journalism, long-form journalism, which we will get into later this semester. Next week we're going to talk about board meetings. So your assignment, not March 30th. What am I thinking? October. Let's see, we are here. So I usually make your stuff due on Monday or Tuesday. So let's do Monday. October, what was it? October 5th. So do October 5th. This will give you guys about a week. Write a weather story. Use 3 sources in your story. Interview a meteorologist and use what he or she says. Don't forget to ask for their name and how to spell it. So, John is spelled differently. There is a meteorologist whose last name is Griswack. You have to ask him how to spell it if you're reporting from the El Paso area. Use quotes from 2 other sources about the weather, not Wikipedia for Christ's sake, okay? Try to find a story in the weather, for example, the first day of spring, or in this case, it was supposed to be the first day of fall, like a week ago. What's going on with the weather? Why is it so hot? Why isn't it fall yet? Okay, I'm just giving you guys ideas. The story should be 300 to 500 words. You don't have to upload this multimedia aspect of it at all. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys examples. Here's what I do not want to see for your assignment. Do not write an essay. I don't want to see, I talked to so-and-so about the weather, and I talked to this meteorologist about the weather, and this is what he had to say. Then I asked my friend, no, my God, this is not an English story. This is a news story. Keep that in mind. I want you to write like you're a news writer. This is going to be your first assignment as a news writer. So go out there and report like a news writer. I've given you all examples. I'm kind of worried, but we'll see what you all come up with. If they have jargon, jargon, weather jargon. Do not include. Remember to simplify. Do not write in first person. If I see a story written in first person, it will be an automatic 0 because that's not how you write news stories. So write it in a news and AP format. Okay. Let me give you an example of a weather story so that you guys have it. Weather story. We can do K-Fox, I guess. I'm not really too fond of K-Fox, but let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll do K-Fox story. Why not? Their AP style is really good. I have to give them that when it comes to their website. So. Oh, right, I forgot there's live coverage of the Pope. If you guys didn't see that, there's a lot of live coverage of the Pope. And actually, just to give you a heads up, it's a good reminder for me, actually. This next week, on your quiz, I'm going to start testing you on current events, not just in the El Paso area, but also the nation. So please, please be reading the newspaper. The only way you're going to be able to write news stories is if you read them and become accustomed to them. It's the truth. Okay, so I'm going to be reading the newspaper a lot, and I'm going to be putting certain news stories for your current events quizzes. Where is a good news weather story? I remember I clicked it. You guys saw that I clicked it. Come on. El Paso weather. And El Paso Times. I hope that's a good one. Okay. Oh, come on. Really? I'm just so disappointed. I'm sorry. It has a forecast, and that's great, and that's fantastic. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a basic weather story, guys. And all they have is forecasts. Oh, way to go. Okie doke. Let's see. I love how they have first day of everything else, but not first day of fall. Unless they didn't do that story. Alright, we're going to have to reach a little bit further. Los Angeles, Times. This is what happens when a company buys out newspaper. And weather story. There we go. This is good. Because I think they're currently having fires right now. You can use the National Weather Service as a source, guys, and you can use a meteorologist as your source as well. So, extreme California weather, heat, floods, and thunderstorms. All right, it's a weather story. I will make sure to include this as an example. So it tells. Come on. I get very impatient with the websites. California is in store for extreme weather this week. Okay. Starts off kind of like a feature story. Thank you, Mr. Advertisement. I don't want to see you. How do I get out of here? Alright, sorry about that. So it tells you a little bit about, it starts off as a feature start. Excess heat advisories expect to last into the weekend with deadly riptides, flash floods, and thunderstorms could bring their own hazards to the state of California, and it gives you a little picture. In southern California's valleys and deserts, temperatures are forecast to climb up into 105 degrees, prompting an excessive heat warning that will last until Sunday, said Andrew Rourke, a National Weather Service senior forecaster. So see, they went ahead and they did what now? Right here, they paraphrased, okay, which is what you guys did with your interviews when you interviewed your friend or a family member. You had the quotes and then you paraphrased, right? So this is exactly what he's doing here. He paraphrased. The Santa Ana winds that usually come home in September aren't around this week, Rourke said. Again, another paraphrase. Producing a kind of baking effect across the region that will continue at night, so it's going to be really hot. There will be little to no wind. Unusually warm ocean temperatures aren't allowing the air to cool as much, so there won't be any relief from the sun goes down, he said. Where are the quotes, LA Times? That should be a quote. Temperatures will dip into the 70s, he said. So, inland, meanwhile, it's not just the heat that residents have to worry about. Monsoonal moisture flowing north from the west of Baja could bring a heavy dose of rain, sparking. There's a lot of technical jargon here that Rourke must have spoken, and the reporter is just summing it up into layman's terms, into regular people speak. Okay, it's talking about the rain. They sum it up a little bit. Temperatures could hover. And it talks a little bit more about the area. It's not an issue. In the northern half of the state, triple-digit temperatures. Okay. This is what I call a one-source story. It is somebody that he just went out there and talked to. Okay. It's not very well done, but it'll suffice as an example for you guys, okay? So he spoke to the National Weather Service guy who told him a little bit. He has his name, all right? Talks about the area, what's going on this next week, and what the National Weather Service said, okay? What I would also include in there, you see this guy right there that's just kind of kicking back? Quite frankly, what I would have done is I would have gone up to the guy as a reporter and spoken to the guy and say, so how do you like the heat? And, oh man, it's killing me or whatever. Have a quote in there. So your job this week is to report on the weather in your hometown. If you're here in El Paso, you're going to have to report on the weather here in El Paso. Talk to the meteorologist, the National Weather Service guy, make sure you get their name, okay, how they spell their name. And then your next part of the assignment it's not just to write about the weather, but turn that into a story somehow, okay? Not just like a boring weather story, but it's hot outside, right? So I've noticed that at the fountains of Farah, they have a lot of kids out there, and the splash pad is still open. My question would be, is the splash pad going to continue to run, or are they going to shut it off? Are their kids still going to be splashing around? Okay, another question would be, you know, a lot of people still do their laundry outside. How is that going to affect them? Do they just go back inside? Do they have to save money? Has the cost of the air conditioner running been a little bit more than what they expected? They expect to turn on the heat by now? That sort of thing. You know, be creative with creating a story within a story. Find the information and find real questions. Okay. So let me go back to the PowerPoint just so that you can see again. Assignment due October 5th. Write a weather story. Use 3 sources in your story. National Weather Service is one, the meteorologist is the other, and a regular person. Don't forget to ask these people's names and how they spell it. Use quotes from 2 other sources from the weather. Try to find a story within the story. My question is kind of weird. Is it weird drinking pumpkin spice lattes when it doesn't even feel like fall here in El Paso? If you're not in El Paso, maybe you're somewhere else taking this course, your job would be to contact the National Weather Service in your area and talk to a meteorologist in your area, okay? Your story should be 300 to 500 words. Do not write in an essay. Write a story as a news article like you see out there with the Los Angeles Times. Do not include weather jargon. Simplify. And do not write in first person. Write and then use an EP story format, okay? There's going to be a quiz you will see there, and you will also see that there is a writing assignment, which is this, okay, and a reading assignment. The reading assignment will actually consist of, I'm trying to decide if I want it to be an exercise or not. Done. Let's see here. Courtroom stories, weather stories. Oh, here we go. No, I don't want you to do that. No, I don't want you to do that either. Okay, your reading exercise will actually be I think I know what it will be. Your reading exercise will actually just consist of you looking up some information for next week's assignment, I think. I think that's what we'll do. And you telling me about it, just in an essay format. Or I might include additional press release exercises. That way you can get used to writing it. Okay, so that's it for this week. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. If you guys are having trouble watching these videos, I got a few messages from you guys. So don't, go ahead and don't be afraid to message me about the exercises or the videos. Maybe you can't see them. Let me know so I can add you to the YouTube group so that you can watch these videos, okay? All right, thanks. Have a good week. See you next time.